A streetlight blinked on and off above the cracked road on Manchester Avenue in south-central Los Angeles. It was 1 in the morning in July 1970, and the heat was still hanging in the air. Bruce Lee was walking home after a late training session, a private lesson with an actor who was getting ready for a role and wanted to learn basic self-defense. The lesson went long. It paid well, and Bruce needed the money. Teaching martial arts was not a steady living yet. Not for him. Not yet. His car had been sitting in a repair shop for 2 days, waiting for a transmission part. The repair would cost $700. He didn't have $700, so he was walking 8 miles from Hollywood to his apartment in Culver City. He had walked farther than that before. As he headed south, the neighborhood slowly changed. Metal gates pulled down over store windows, graffiti on the walls, broken glass on the sidewalk. Bruce knew the danger of walking alone through this area at 1 in the morning, especially for someone who looked like him. But the other choices, sleeping at the studio, calling Linda and waking her up, asking someone for taxi money, were not things he wanted to do. So he kept his head up. He stayed alert. He walked with purpose, and he tried to look like someone who wasn't worth the trouble. 3 blocks from the main road, 3 blocks from better lights, traffic, and people. The street went quiet, too quiet. Just closed shops and dark windows. An old gray Impala rolled past him. The muffler was loud. The windows were down. 3 men inside stared at him as the car slowed. Then the car sped up and turned the corner. Bruce felt his shoulders tighten. He knew what that drive-by was. They were checking him out, sizing him up. The car might come back. He walked faster, not running, just firm and steady. The walk of someone who belonged there and had somewhere to go. An alley opened on his right. It was so dark he couldn't see inside it. His instincts told him to cross the street and stay away from the blind spot. He kept walking straight, eyes forward. Something moved at the edge of the alley. A person stepped out and blocked the sidewalk. Bruce stopped. The figure was about 10 feet away. His hand went to his pocket without thinking. Only his keys were there. The man was young, maybe 20. And thin and tight-built, jeans, tank top, short afro. His eyes had that hard look, the look of someone under pressure, someone who needed money right now, someone who had run out of better choices. "Yo," the man said. He tried to sound tough, but there was a shake in his voice. "Empty your pockets." Bruce stood still and took a quick look at the situation. The man seemed to be alone, but someone could be waiting in the alley behind him. The car that passed earlier could be part of this, or it could mean nothing. There was no way to know. "You hear me?" the man said, stepping closer. "I said empty your pockets. Give me everything you got." "I don't have much," Bruce said calmly. "Maybe $20, some loose change. That's it." "Then give me the $20. "I need it," Bruce said, "for food, for rent." "Man, I don't care what you need it for. He reached behind his back, pulled out a small silver revolver. The streetlight flashed off the metal as he pointed it at Bruce's chest. Bruce laughed, not loud, just a quiet sound, the kind that slips out when something feels completely ridiculous. He had just spent the evening teaching an actor how to protect himself. Now he was standing in front of a real gun on an empty street. The timing felt almost unreal. The man's face changed, first confusion, then anger. "What the hell you laughing at?" he snapped. "You think this is funny? Huh, you think I won't shoot you?" Bruce shook his head and tried to stop smiling. "I'm not laughing at you," he said. "I'm laughing at the situation." "What situation?" the man said. "This is simple. I got a gun. You got money. Give it to me or I shoot you." "Is the gun loaded?" Bruce asked. "What?" "The gun," Bruce said. "Does it have bullets in it?" "Of course it's loaded," the man snapped. "You think I'm walking around with an empty gun?" "Some people do," Bruce said quietly. They use empty guns to scare people. It usually works because nobody wants to find out if it's real." The man pulled the hammer back. Click, clear and sharp. "It's real," he said. "It's loaded, and I will shoot you if you don't give me your money right now." Bruce looked at the gun, then at the hand holding it. The hand was shaking. Not a lot, but enough to notice. Adrenaline, nerves, inexperience. This didn't look like a man who had ever shot someone before. And it didn't look like a man who wanted to. "All right," Bruce said. "I'll give you the money." He paused. "But I should explain one thing first. I don't carry my wallet when I walk at night. Too easy to lose. I keep my cash in my sock. To get it, I need to reach down. If I move without warning you, you might think I'm going for a weapon. So I'm asking, can I reach for my sock without you shooting me?" The man looked at him for a moment. "You got money in your sock?" $23. "Everything I have on me." "Why your sock?" "Because if someone robs me, they usually don't check there. Wallets, phones, watches, that's what people go for. Nobody checks socks. I grew up in Hong Kong. Rough neighborhood. Got robbed twice as a kid. You learn to adapt." The man was working through it, trying to decide whether Bruce was stalling, lying, setting something up. Okay, get the money, slow, no sudden moves. I see anything I don't like. I shoot. Understood. Bruce lowered himself slowly, left knee first, then right, settling back on his heels. He untied his right shoe with unhurried hands, removed it, then the sock. Inside the sock, folded flat, were several bills. He held them up. This is it, $23, everything. Toss it over. Can I put my sock back on first? The street's dirty, I've got a long walk home. Just toss the money. Bruce tossed it, underhand, gentle. The bills fluttered and landed a few feet in front of the man. The man's eyes dropped for a fraction of a second to see where the money had fallen. Bruce moved. He came up from the kneeling position and covered the 10 feet in roughly a second, faster than the gun could be redirected, faster than the man could process what was happening. His right hand went not to the barrel, but to the cylinder, gripping it. With the cylinder held, the gun could not fire. If the mechanism requires the cylinder to rotate. His left hand struck the wrist holding the weapon, a precise nerve strike to the radial nerve. The man's fingers went numb and released. The gun fell. Bruce caught it. In under 2 seconds, the weapon had changed hands completely. The man backed away, both arms rising. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Easy, man! I wasn't going to shoot, I was just... Just what? Bruce said. Robbing me, pointing a loaded gun at my chest, threatening to kill me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't know you could. You thought I was an easy target. Small Asian guy, alone, late at night, easy money. The man did not answer. Bruce opened the cylinder and checked it. 6 rounds, fully loaded, safety off, hammer still cocked. This had not been a performance. The gun was ready to fire. You really would have shot me, Bruce said. It was not a question. No, maybe, I don't know. I just needed the money, man. I got rent due, bills, mouths to feed. So you rob people, risk killing them, risk prison, risk destroying your own future for $23. It's not just $23. I do this a few times a week, make enough to get by. Bruce pressed the cylinder release, tilted the gun, and 6 rounds fell into his palm. He pocketed them. Then he held the empty gun out toward the man. The man stared at it, confused. Why are you giving it back? Because keeping it doesn't help me. I'm not going to shoot you. And I'm not calling the police. You're not calling the cops after I pulled a gun on you? No. Why not? Bruce was quiet for a moment. Because arresting you doesn't address what put you out here tonight. You go in, you come out worse than you went in, and eventually you're back on this street, angrier, more desperate, more dangerous than before. That outcome doesn't help you, and it doesn't help the next person you rob. It just continues the same cycle. So you're just letting me go? Yes, but I'm keeping the bullets. Without them, that gun is useless. If you want to rob someone else, you'll need to buy more rounds, and that costs money you clearly don't have. Maybe use whatever you were going to spend on bullets for food or rent instead. The man stood there, holding an empty gun, with nothing to say. This was not how any version of this encounter was supposed to go. People either handed over their money and ran, or someone got hurt, or the police were called. Not this. Who are you? He finally asked. Are you a cop, undercover? No, I teach martial arts for a living. That's how you moved that fast? How you took my gun? Training, practice, repetition. I've taken weapons from people before in different situations. It's not a trick, it's technique. The man thought for a moment. Can you teach me that? Teach you what? What you just did. How to move like that, how to fight, how to actually defend myself. Why do you need to defend yourself? You're the one robbing people. Man, I get robbed too, all the time. People look at me and figure I'm weak. They take my money, my shoes, whatever I've got on me. I can't stop them. I can't fight back. That's why I got the gun in the first place. I thought it would protect me. Then you just took it in a second and made me feel completely helpless. Bruce understood what he was looking at. The gun was not a weapon of aggression, not really. It was a tool of survival in an environment that had never offered this man any other options. Not fundamentally different from martial arts, just a different path toward the same thing. Protection. I can teach you, Bruce said. But classes cost money. How much? $20 a month. The man gave a short, bitter laugh. I just tried to rob you for $23. You think I've got 20 a month for kung fu classes? Then earn it. Find legal work, dishwashing, janitorial, construction, jobs that don't require a diploma or a clean record. They require you to show up, work hard, and be reliable. Pay for the classes with honest money and learn to defend yourself properly, without guns, without robbing people. Nobody's going to hire me. I've got a record. I dropped out of school. I've got nothing to offer anybody. You have time. You have 2 hands. You have a brain. That's enough to start. It's harder than robbing people, I won't tell you otherwise, but robbing people eventually ends one of two ways. You get killed or you go to prison. Working gets you paid, it gets you skills, it gets you forward. The man was quiet. Nobody had talked to him like this before, in a way that acknowledged where he was but also pointed somewhere else. "What's your name?" Bruce asked. "Darnell." "All right, Darnell. I train at a school in Chinatown. Small place. Tuesday and Thursday nights, 7 p.m. Come by and watch a class. See if it means anything to you. If you want to join, we'll talk about it. If you don't, that's fine too." "You're serious, after I just pulled a gun on you." "You pulled a gun on me. You didn't rob me. You tried, it didn't work, and instead of running or escalating, you're standing here having a conversation. That tells me something about you." Darnell nodded slowly. "I'll think about it." "Don't take too long. Every day you're out here is another day closer to one of those two outcomes. Make a different choice while you still can." Bruce picked his $23 up off the pavement, put them back in his sock, put his sock and shoe back on, and tied the lace. Ordinary, unhurried movements. He straightened up. "You're really not calling the cops?" Darnell asked again. "Really not? Why trust me? I could follow you. Wait for a moment when you're not ready." Try again." Bruce looked at him directly. "You could. But you had a loaded gun and every advantage a few minutes ago, and you didn't use it. That tells me you don't actually want to hurt people. You're doing what you think you have to do to survive. I'm telling you there's another way. You're smart enough to at least sit with that. You got a lot of faith in people you just met. In you. Right now. Specifically. You had a gun pointed at my chest and you didn't pull the trigger. That's not nothing. That means something." Before turning to go, Bruce added, "If you come to the school, bring the gun. I'll get rid of it properly. An unloaded gun is still dangerous. Someone finds it, loads it, and we're back to the same place. Better to be rid of it entirely." "That gun cost me $100. Then it was $100 badly spent. Think about what else $100 could have been. Food, clothes, rent, 5 months of martial arts classes. Think about what $100 can buy you when it's going towards something that doesn't end with someone dead or you in a cell." Bruce walked away down the sidewalk without looking back. Steady pace, no hurry. Darnell watched him go, watched until Bruce rounded a corner and was gone. Then he looked down at the empty gun in his hand. Just metal now. Just wait. A reminder of a plan that had failed in a way he had not imagined was possible. He turned over what Bruce had said. The job. The classes, the different path. Part of him dismissed it as the kind of thing someone says when they don't understand what survival actually looks like on these streets, but another part held on to it. Wondered if it was real. Wondered if he had just been handed something he had not recognized yet. Bruce arrived home just before 2 in the morning. Linda was awake. "Where have you been? It's almost 2. "Walking. The car's still in the shop." "You walked from Hollywood?" "Bruce, that's not safe this late." "I know. I didn't have much of a choice. You could have called. I would have come to get you. I didn't want to wake you and Brandon. I handled it. Did anything happen?" He paused. He considered saying nothing. He did not do that with Linda. "Someone tried to rob me, young guy with a gun." The color left Linda's face. "Are you hurt? Did he?" "I'm fine. I took his gun, took the bullets, and let him go." "You let him go?" He pointed a gun at you and you let him go." "I also invited him to train at the school." Linda stared at him. "You invited a robber to your school?" "Yes." "Are you insane?" "Maybe, but I think he could change if he had a real reason to. I gave him one. Whether he takes it is up to him." "And if he actually shows up, what then?" "Then I teach him. Same as anyone else. Same material, same philosophy, same respect." Linda was quiet for a moment. She had married someone who operated this way, who looked for what was redeemable in people, who gave second chances in situations that didn't seem to call for them. It was one of the things she admired most and worried about most, sometimes at the same time. "Promise me you won't walk home alone this late again," she said. "Promise me you'll call." "I promise. The car should be ready in a few days anyway." They went to bed. Bruce did not fall asleep right away. He went back through it. The moment the figure stepped out of the alley, the gun, the laugh he couldn't suppress, the disarm, the conversation on the sidewalk afterward. Any part of it could have gone differently. A slightly faster trigger finger, a more experienced or more reckless person on the other end of that gun. He could have left Linda a widow that night. He could have left Brandon without a father. But it had not gone that way. It had gone the other way. The reason it had came down to training and awareness and the decision to stay calm and keep thinking even with a gun pointed at his chest. The following Tuesday at 7 p.m., Bruce was in the middle of teaching his class of 15 students when the door opened. Darnell walked in wearing clean clothes, hair neat. He looked like he had taken time getting ready. In his hand, wrapped in a plastic bag, was the empty gun. The class paused. Everyone turned to look at the stranger in the doorway. Everyone, Bruce said. This is Darnell. He's here to observe. Make him welcome. A few students nodded or said hello. Most just looked. Darnell handed Bruce the bag without much ceremony. You said to bring it. Thank you. I'll handle it. Can I watch the class? That's why you're here. Darnell found a spot against the wall and sat down. He watched everything. The movement, the instruction, the way students corrected each other without embarrassment, the atmosphere of the room. After the students had gone, Bruce asked him what he thought. It was different from what I expected, Darnell said. I thought it would just be people hitting each other. But it looked more like everyone was working together, almost like dancing. That's what training is, Bruce said. Cooperation, everyone learning, everyone improving. The fighting is the application. The training is what makes it real. Can I join? Do you have the $20? Darnell reached into his pocket and set a crumpled $20 bill on the table. I got a job, dishwasher at a restaurant. Minimum wage, paid under the table, but it's legal money. That's my first day's pay. Bruce took the bill. You start Thursday. Come dressed to move, bare feet, ready to work. I'll be here. He was. Thursday at 7 p.m. and every session after that for months. His technique developed steadily. His confidence shifted in ways that reached past the school and into the rest of his life. He found better work. He moved out of his mother's place and into his own apartment. Small, cheap, but his own. Years later, after Bruce Lee had died at 32, a reporter tracked Darnell down. By then he was in his 40s, running his own martial arts school in South Central, teaching children, giving them the structure and the alternative that he had been given. Tell me about Bruce Lee, the reporter said. What was he like? Darnell was quiet for a moment before answering. Bruce Lee saved my life. How? I tried to rob him, pulled a gun on him on an empty street at 1 a.m. He could have run. He could have given me the money and walked away. He could have called the police. Instead, he laughed. Laughed? Just this quiet laugh, like the whole thing struck him as funny somehow, like pointing a gun at him was a joke he'd already heard. Oh, it threw me completely. I didn't know what to do, and then he took my gun before I understood what was happening, disarmed me in about a second, left me standing there with nothing. And then? Then he talked to me, gave me a real choice, keep doing this and end up dead or in a cell, or find a different way, learn something real, build something. I chose the second option. It was the best decision I've ever made. Did he really laugh when you pulled the gun? He really did. I asked him about it later. He said it was the timing. He'd just spent the evening teaching someone self-defense, and 2 hours later someone was pointing a gun at him. He said the universe has a sense of humor. Said sometimes you have to laugh or you'll lose your mind. What do you think would have happened if you'd shot him? Darnell went quiet. I don't know. Prison, maybe. Or I'd have been killed eventually by someone else. Or I'd have spent the rest of my life carrying the weight of what I'd done. I thank God every day it went the other way. That he was faster than me. That he saw something in me he thought was worth the effort. The story was passed along in gyms and training rooms over the years that followed. The details shifted in transit, as they always do. Some versions had Bruce moving before the gun was fully drawn. Others added elements that were never part of the actual account. The real version was simpler, and in its way, more significant. Bruce Lee was held up at gunpoint on a street in South Central Los Angeles. He laughed, disarmed the man holding the gun, kept the bullets, returned the empty weapon, declined to call the police, and offered the man a place to train. Darnell showed up Tuesday night, paid his first month's dues with money he had earned washing dishes, and began. He trained for months, and then he taught for decades. And the students he taught carried the effects of one 5-minute conversation on one empty street into their own lives and outward from there. The disarm was technique, learnable, trainable, developed through years of deliberate practice. The rest of it was something harder to define and harder to teach. The decision to see a person rather than a threat, to offer something rather than press an advantage, to follow through on it. Darnell walked through that door. And because he did, when hundreds of others did too in the years that followed, in his school, on his watch. All of it tracing back to one night in July 1970 on a dark street with a flickering light overhead where Bruce Lee looked down the barrel of a loaded gun and laughed, and then offered grace instead of punishment and let the consequences of that choice unfold across decades.